The Bob's Burgers movie. Let me start by being honest here. I have never seen an episode of Bob's Burgers. Nothing against the show, I just never found the time to actually watch it. Okay, that's not entirely true. I remember watching the first episode when the series had its premiere back at the start of 2011. I felt open-minded and I figured, why not try something new? Maybe get a chance to follow what could be the next big animated series. And you know what? It sucked and I didn't like it. I quickly moved on without much of a thought, and that was it. From what I've heard though, the first season is often considered to be one of the weakest of the show. But as the years go by, Bob's Burgers became better and better and better to the point where now the show is a worthy addition to the Fox animation lineup next to The Simpsons and Family Guy. Maybe at first I wasn't missing much, but now it seems like I am. Beyond that one experience, I have seen a few clips of the show on social media from time to time, and I'll admit that some of them can be quite hilarious.
Oh, what's going on? Ah! Oh man! Ooh, pickles.
Which brings us to the Belchers becoming so big that now they got their own theatrically released feature film. Even though I don't have much experience with the show, I figured why not and take advantage of this moment and do something for people like me. A review of the movie from the perspective of pretty much a newcomer to Bob's Burgers that could not only help out fans who know way more than me, but also for other newcomers to see if they can have a good time without the necessary need to watch some episodes beforehand. I've already done this before, so I don't think this will go wrong in any way. At least I hope not. So now that the Belchers have prepared their biggest order yet, can Bob serve us something as special as what he cooks up on TV? Or does this movie have bigger problems than the sinkhole? Let's find out. The story. I'll give the movie credit that there is a clear effort to make the show's theatrical debut a big deal instead of feeling like one long regular episode. The crisis that the Belchers have to face now is that a massive sinkhole emerged in front of their restaurant, at the same time when they are in desperate need of money to keep the place open. Soon afterwards, a body of a carnival worker was discovered within, and in an attempt to save the restaurant, the kids skipped school for the day to find out who killed that person, since the accused is coincidentally their landlord.
Well, it's just our landlord's gonna go to prison, the bank's gonna call in our loan, and then they'll take our restaurant stuff, and we will live in a box on the street.
Because this is a movie based on a show where the main characters are a whole family, they do try to make each of them a bigger deal by giving them their own narrative, highlighting that they are important to the film and that they each prominently contribute in their own unique way. However, I'll get more into this later, but despite the efforts of giving each Belcher a side plot, there really is only one story that truly matters here, and that is the mystery of who killed the carny. I'll give the narrative of Bob and Linda a pass because, as the parents, they show their alternative to how they're trying to save their restaurant in their own unconventional way, but whenever they try to present the others' goals and needs, they don't play much in the factor of the story other than how it keeps them distracted from their missions. But honestly, that's my only complaint, and even at that, I do understand the effort they want to put in to give everyone their moment to shine. When looking at the big picture of this, I say that this is a very well-written story. As it dives into finding the carny's killer, even if the premise makes it easy to guess how the family will be by the end, it's actually a well-paced detective narrative that has some good unexpected turns where it does have effective surprises of who done it and what is their motive, along with a fun opportunity to play around with some new characters and a bit of commentary regarding the upper class. Not to mention having a strong amount of intensity when danger is suddenly present, and all leading up to an exciting climax as the family escapes peril and tries to save the day. But of course, as a Bob's Burgers movie, the comedy takes a high priority in this feature, filling it with snappy dialogue with the cast playing around with their quirks. I can say from my experience that it is quite a joy to watch because this movie is all around funny. I won't say that all the jokes are hysterical, But every single one works well to make the watch enjoyable, ranging from being decent to hilarious, making it overall engaging to see what else they can think of to make you laugh.
Why is she dropping these B-bombs on me like it's nothing? It's offensive to, babies.
I mean, you are talking to your toys right now? Is this about time to bring that up?
Your collectibles?
Much like the Belchers themselves, the story can have a few awkward quirks that could set them back a little from achieving their mission, but that is nothing compared to how it is funny, surprising, and just having some solid writing that all result in a fun experience. The animation. With the popularity of the show, I know that the look of Bob's Burgers has become a recognizable style in animation. In fact, it has become creator Lauren Bouchard's signature style, where he also used it in his other animated series like Central Park and The Great North. However, I must comment that I always find the designs to be weird and funny at the same time. This is technically set in a regular world like ours, yet everybody looks like a Muppet with their simple eyes, their round nose, and their wide mouths. Almost like they all share the same ancestor and it turns out to be Bert. That, and this is a world where there's no such thing as a chin. I don't care what that line on their neck is meant to be. There is nothing that will change my mind that chins are a myth in Bob's Burgers.
Oh, boy.
Dad, I don't want to stop your flow, but can you pass the peel off?
Oh, God.
That's butter. You know what? Butter's better.
But enough about the designs. The point of this part is to answer the big question, did they upgrade the animation for the big screen? And the answer is yes. They certainly did, and it has been quite a while since I've seen some beautiful 2D hand-drawn animation in theaters like this. In fact, the animation here is about as good as these wallets from this review sponsor, the Ridge Wallet. I'll be honest, ever since I got my first Ridge Wallet, I never went back because this is truly a next level wallet. It's the true definition of big things come in small packages because not only is it the size of a credit card, but it's able to carry up to 12 cards and have extra room to hold some cash. Oh, and by the way, I can confirm by experience that this makes an awesome Father's Day gift. In fact, to help you out on that, go to the link in the description and use the promo code ANIMAT to get 15% off your order. And your dad will be amazed at how the craftsmanship that is put onto such a small and simple wallet is on par with the animation of the Bob's Burgers movie. Just by looking at an image of the movie alone, one significant difference is the additional layer of lighting, taking these regular flat characters and give them the illusion of depth. And this isn't just a few simple strokes on the characters. They really go into intricate details to reflect both the characters' dimensions and their surroundings. Speaking of the surroundings, the backgrounds also have a lot of detail to help make the town feel alive and immersive, as they're entering summer and the shore features their annual carnival. Sure, this may not sound like much for an animated feature, but the film does make the most out of it, especially with the hidden secrets in the carnival that later play a role in establishing the climax.
Is this the police? I'd like to report a thing happened.
And then there's the character animation itself, which, other than the lighting, is the other factor that noticeably got the biggest boost compared to the show. It is true that there are some times when it can be the same whenever they're just talking and it just relies on the regular limited animation. But when there's a moment that needs to stand out, that's when the movements go big and smooth to have the characters come alive like they've probably never have before. Then again, I've never seen the series, so what the fridge do I know? This is especially the case with the musical numbers where they suddenly get into this highly elaborate choreography that's just mesmerizing to watch. I can't even remember the last time I've seen 2D characters in a movie theater dance impressively like this. It should be expected for a movie based on an animated series to get an upgrade on its animation, but Bob's Burgers went up and beyond to make itself really look good. The characters. As I've said before, the movie does put in the effort to make each member of the Belcher family stand out and feel important. As a newcomer to Bob's Burgers, one thing that I do appreciate is how easy the film establishes the personalities so that even someone like me can get to know who these people are. You got Bob, who is the more cautious and pessimistic father who often thinks it could be the end of his restaurant under the situation he found himself in, but is openly willing to try out whatever crazy plans either his wife or his buddy Teddy wants him to try to do. Linda, Bob's bubbly wife, who is a lot more optimistic and opportunistic, who helps lift up his spirits. Tina, the eldest of the kids, that is the perfect example of an awkward teenager who puts herself under pressure to confess her love to a guy in school. Gene, the dumber kid that lives in his own world that often gets distracted and hopes to get his band play at the carnival with his new instrument, which is an empty napkin holder with some rubber bands holding spoons. And finally, there's Louise, the youngest with a feisty attitude that wants to prove that she is braver than what people perceive her to be, and is the most determined to save the restaurant by finding the real killer. Like I've previously mentioned in the story, considering that the murder mystery plot is what is narratively most important, there are some characters that honestly don't contribute as much as others. Sure, there's Bob and Linda trying to sell burgers outside of the restaurant to find a way to make money and keep their business alive, but Tina's complex emotions about her love and Gene's musical pursuit don't necessarily add much to the main plot. Some could argue that they help define their personalities, but there's not a strong connection that's primarily going on to justify their respective moments here. I do find that they are useful to the movie, but not individually.
That's okay, right? That's not a bad sign.
No.
What you doing, Gene?
I'm making an instrument out of spoons and a napkin holder and dreams and magic.
Obviously.
But despite Bob having his name in the title, I'd argue that Louise is the main character of the picture. Sure, Bob is the one at the biggest risk of losing his business, but Louise is the one that shows the most growth with her pursuit that she is brave, and the one leading the way to find out who is the killer. Not to mention how, with her narrative, she's the one that carries the most heart to show how the family cares so much for one another, and how that plays a critical role in her true bravery.
It was the dead man's drop thing. I didn't want to do it. I was worried all my loose change would fall out.
Okay.
All right, fine. It's also because of my hat, my ears.
As for other prominent characters, the most that are relevant are the fish odors, featuring the landlord Calvin, his brother Felix, and their lawyer cousin Grover. All of which are the out-of-touch rich people who satirically flaunt their wealth and are stuck in a dire situation where they found themselves in the middle of a murder case. I'd also like to add that it is to be expected that the original voice cast did a great job with their personalities with the kind of snappy dialogue they've trained to master. But even the less frequent members like Kevin Kline, Zach Galifianakis, and David Wayne are also great that result in the acting to be noticeably enjoyable, where it's clear that the actors had fun with their performances, which translate to strengthening the characters' personalities and the audience to have fun too.
You know what you gotta do to Droopy Bob?
What?
You gotta punch him in the nuts like this.
Ow!
Sorry, I'm sorry. But you know what I'm saying? It's like a metaphor, like this.
Ow!
Regardless if you're introduced to them or are very familiar with who they are, the characters know how to liven up the movie as much as they do in their own show. The songs. Admittedly, I was kind of surprised that this was a musical. I always thought Bouchard would save that more for Central Park, but it seems like even Bob's Burgers can have its moments to sing. Then again, for a show that's been on for over a decade, I guess that's inevitable. Anyways, when it comes to the Bob's Burgers movie as a musical, I'd honestly say that it's kind of debatable because there aren't as much musical numbers here in the first place. At the most, there's only 4 songs in the picture, and some of them don't even act as complete musical numbers. At the beginning, there's Sunny Side Up Summer, establishing each character like a reintroduction to them, along with discussing what they want to achieve in the picture.
When you taste our burgers, taste our fries, you'll probably give us a high five. Extend our loan, throw us a bone, and tell us we are in the zone.
Next, there's Lucky Ducks, which goes into the life of a carny while Louise compares her misfortunes with them.
Some lucky ducks get all the luck. Yes, they do, but that's not us. Unlucky schmucks.
As for the two other numbers, I won't go into too much detail about them because of major spoiler reasons, but one is where the true killer reveals their master plan, and the other is like the conclusion that wraps up the picture. The thing with these numbers is that half the time, the characters don't really sing. There are often interruptions of dialogue where it often feels like it's not sure if it really wants to be a musical number, but still wants to make a big deal of the moment. As for the songs themselves, or at least the full ones like Sunny Side Up Summer and Lucky Ducks, while the lyrics do feel like they are restrained for its use to just be for the movie, I will give it that they are catchy. The melody has a real good beat to them, and they do often integrate the film's humor to add some extra enjoyability. Even in those semi-songs, the times when they do sing are actually fun. However, as much as I like this film, it's hard to ignore that it could have committed more to being an actual musical instead of just going on and off with the idea. I'll admit that it has good songs, and those moments are fun, especially with the animation and the choreography. But if only the movie could figure out if it actually wants to be a musical. As someone who is technically a newcomer to Bob's Burgers, I had an absolute blast with the movie. The Bob's Burgers movie turned the popular TV show into an impressively fun animated feature that's surprisingly better than what most major studios generally create. While a little dysfunctional at times where it's unsure if it wants to be a musical and has a few unnecessary side plots, what it offers overall is a delicious combination of great writing that has an engaging story, comedy that can deliver plenty of laughs, a family of enjoyable characters, a few catchy songs, and admirable 2D hand-drawn animation. I wouldn't say that it's the best animated film based on a TV show, but I do consider this to be in the same league as The Simpsons movie, South Park Bigger, Longer, and Uncut, and you subscribing to this channel so that you don't miss more awesome videos like this. Regardless if you're a longtime Bob's Burgers fan, or you've never seen a single episode, I highly recommend to check this out if you want a great comedy. And that's what I probably admire about this movie the most. It's very rare to find a film based on a series where you don't have to do hours of research just to understand the basics of what's going on. It doesn't just want to deliver fan service that only some would understand. It wants the entire audience to have fun, regardless of who they are, and I think it knows how to serve that very well.
That feels nice.
I know.
Don't rub my sesame seeds off.
I won't, don't worry.
They're a cute couple.
I give him a year.